some of the best schools in the United States were hosting us for this residency. I was at the University of Minnesota's Humphrey School of Public Affairs, which has one of the top public policy programs in the United States. And each school had 25 people, right? So we had Yale, there was University of Delaware, Clark Atlanta in Atlanta as well, a lot of the schools. And all of the schools had to apply to even be part of the fellowship, and they had to submit their curriculum. And I was on the public management track. There were 3 tracks: business and entrepreneurship, which Sola was on. There was civic leadership, that's like NGOs and people who are doing not-for-profit work, and there was public sector, public management. I was on the public management track, and it was almost like a crash course in public affairs for 6 weeks. So think about everything in public affairs, from servant leadership to citizen engagement to financial management for government, to how do you think about infrastructure development for a metropolis. All of that was put in a 6-week academic course for us. And we did not only do, it was a very experiential process. It wasn't just lecturers or facilitators talking at us. We also spent time job shadowing at different levels of government in Minneapolis. So we spent time at the House of Reps with them, sat in session with them to see how they actually work. We were at the county as well, where we were assigned to different departments. I was assigned to a department that was thinking about how do they accelerate graduate achievement for the minorities in Minneapolis. And I was working with them, every afternoon we would go there, sit with them, just see how they work. Because sharing best practice is not only well codified in books. Sometimes you just have to sit there and see how decisions are being made. Spend time with the commissioner for one of the counties. So it was very robust. In the mornings we'd be in class, and then in the afternoons we'd be out, either in this job shadowing sessions or just visiting places.
And then you were interacting with other young African
In my class, there were 25 young Africans from 18 different countries. So I think the quality of the interactions was just robust. It was rich.
It was amazing.
It was just amazing, right? So we talk about, say, citizen engagement, and somebody from Kenya talks about how that happens in their country. And then we had people from Burundi, Rwanda, Swaziland, South Africa, Liberia, Sierra Leone, people from Cape Verde, who, before then sometimes I'm like, Cape Verde is in Africa, but where, people from Seychelles. We had a member of parliament in my class from Seychelles. She was a delegate from there. And just having that, wide range of interactions with people from so many African countries was, for me, the biggest takeaway, really.
Okay, and so how would you bring all of these experiences, that you borrowed from other young African leaders to impact on what we have here
in Nigeria? Yeah. Okay. Well, like Emmy rightly said, it was a very enriching experience. Having to go out there, I know that there are lots of other passionate people like you in different parts of the world, and Africa especially. I said to myself my first session in class, I said, how did I qualify to be here? Yeah. You're almost intimidated. You're like, this guy, you're doing some working on gender inequality in your country. Somebody's working on disability issues in our country. One of the YALI delegates had to travel 6 hours to go fill the form because there was lack of internet access where she is, and she's doing something very amazing in our country, So I know that there are lots of other passionate young people in Nigeria, and I always say this to the guys there. Nigeria is a country where you have a lot of people who are hungry. Hungry, I'm not talking about food not in your stomach. I mean guys who want change, who desire this change. But a lot of times, they've not been rightly taught. The desire is there, but the energies are different. So they express this through a lot of frustrations, complain, and curse on the government. I have been opportune to work with young people in the last few years of my life, and I know that change is here. It's not a next tomorrow thing. It's not like I'm hoping. I know it's here. I see a conscious evolution every day. The change sometimes is thought like a very complex thing. We see it like a movement from point A to point B, and we forget the things that happen between point A and point B. And I will tell you something. All we need to do as a country is to be able to empower people. How do I mean by empower? Teach people. The experience that I had in the last 6 to 8 weeks, she is smiling and she knows what I'm talking about. When your mind gets to a level, you ask yourself, what's happening to me here? So for us to experience a shift in our paradigm, we need to hear new things, we need to be taught properly, we need to be exposed properly.
Okay, let me put you on the spot for 1 second, Sola.
Please go ahead.
There are some people, young and old, male and female, who will say something is wrong with our young people. They're lazy, they don't want to work, they're not aggressive, they're not as visionary as our forefathers or those who were leading the way in the 50s and 60s. What do you say to that?
Well,
and I'm saying this knowing that even some young people would admit to that.
yes, okay. I wouldn't like to start by faulting that argument. I would like by saying that there are several things in the mix. Nigeria has created a new set of Nigerians. Some people have become complainants in the process of trying to address the issue of Nigeria, so they complain perpetually. Even things that happen in America, and when such things happen here in Nigeria, they say, it's because it's Nigeria. Because people have a perfect and idealistic picture of America. I mean, in America, I'm still coming back to the question. In America, for instance, I was opportune to visit a shelter where you had thousands of people that were homeless. And this is God's own country. In America, I stand at the bus station and a guy walks up to me and say, "Hey bro, $1 please, $1 please." This is God's own country. Okay.
Begging for money.
Yeah.
Yes. So now what I'm saying is that it's about the people, really. And a lot of people, because of what they've experienced, have just given up hope on the system. They gave up. Giving up is human tendency.
So those people are not in the majority then?
They are not in the majority.
So how come they are the people that are used as example of the young people of Nigeria?
Well, there
You're a young man.
are a few other dynamics to it also. Now, one unfortunate part of Nigeria that I have seen, unfortunate, is that we wait for the world to write our own story.
Yeah.
We don't consciously and deliberately write our own story, and it's very, very bad. Yeah. I'm here today not telling you about somebody, I'm telling you about what I've done in the last few weeks and what I intend to do with my life.
Okay, let me
Sorry,
just
I was just gonna say the same thing to you, but turn it around and say that what is the image of the young Nigerian that you have? I've asked Sola about the image that some people have put out there in social media and in other media and other platforms, and even in public. They will say, "Oh, you see, all of them are just there. If they can get money, that's it. There's nothing else." The Twitter generation. What is your image of the young Nigeria today?
My image of the young Nigerian is an energetic person who is looking for avenues to express that energy. And given the right platforms, we'll use it for the right things. I think about, we're just all very energetic. I think about the 44 of us. Everybody does that, "Oh my God, you Nigerians." In every class, the Nigerian is like the bubbly one, right? Yeah. And that is who the young Nigerian person is. And expressing that energy through entrepreneurship is something that is growing and rising now. Expressing that energy through advocacy and community building. I'm amazed at the number of people who are doing small things in their estates and small things in their local governments just to make things better. I see a young Nigerian who's taking responsibility for their own lives and their own destinies and the destiny of the people around them, who are not waiting for solutions from above, but are doing small things in amazing ways. Okay. That is my image of the young Nigerian.
You want to look at the number of those kind of young Nigerians, because you still have some others who think, "Oh, Kemi is saying all of this because she's privileged to be, where she is. I am struggling to pay my school fees, or I've struggled to pay my school fees. I'm out of school. I don't have a job. I want to do something else, but I just don't have the capacity." He said the hope is lost. But how can we resuscitate this hope